Attention to all founders, hustlers, and hardworking entrepreneurs. The Hustle's 2024 Entrepreneurship Trends Report is out now, and it's a goldmine of valuable strategies, data-driven insights, and expert tips for elevating your business. Have you ever wondered how successful business owners are staying ahead of the crowd in today's super competitive market? Well, we talked to over 500 small business owners to uncover how they're doing it and did a ton of research so you don't have to. We know you're busy building your business, so we got you covered. The Hustle's 2024 Entrepreneurship Trends Report is something you don't want to miss. This right here is the future of entrepreneurship. So stop what you're doing right now and check the link in the show notes to get that report right now. Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday, and you know what that means. I'm Jon Weigell, and this is the weekend edition of the Hustle Daily Show. So betting and relying on yourself isn't the easiest thing to do, but now could be the time to do it. If you're interested to get out there and start a business and want to know about the transition from corporate to your own startup, today's pod is 100% for you. Maha Abouelenein, former General Mills and Google employee, knows exactly how to navigate all that. We'll talk to her about the transition from corporate to running her own business, digital and savvy, why now is a great time to start your business, and her new book that's out October 8th titled 7 Rules of Self-Reliance. So let's get into it, everybody. All right. Welcome, Maha. How are you doing today? Great to have you on.
I'm good, Jon. How are you?
Awesome. Yeah, doing great. Really excited to have you on today to chat a little bit about your book, a little bit about some other things about entrepreneurship. It's going to be a really valuable conversation for our audience, I feel like.
Amazing.
So your book just got sent to me, and I took it on a flight for about 19 hours that I was on. And did some reading. It's called The 7 Rules of Self-Reliance, How to Stay Low, Keep Moving, Invest in Yourself, and Own Your Own Future. So I was wondering, for just first off, we're going to have a lot of discussions today about entrepreneurship and CEOs and company leadership in particular.
Yep.
So just to get us kicked off, how do those 7 rules in your book apply to CEOs and company leaders today?
Yeah. So the concept of self-reliance is really to kind of give people ownership and make them feel powerful. So when they come to the table as a business leader, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, they're not expecting other people to do things for them, that they have that kind of self-reliance mentality, that they come to the table with something to offer. They come to the table with relationships, with skills, with experience. And self-reliance for me is not about being independent. It's about, taking ownership and responsibility myself to bring something to the table.
Yeah, I really like the way you describe self-reliance. I think it's really important. I've been seeing a lot of articles and stats about this, but CEOs come in and immediately they're kind of overwhelmed with everything and the work that they need to do and what actually needs to be learned at this new company that they've just gotten to. Do you have any points for anybody transitioning into a leadership role in a company that's kind of new?
It's sort of like self-awareness. What are the skills I have? What are the skills that I'm missing? And then how do you complement yourself by finding the right team members to help you make sure you're kind of filling those gaps and building it? So for many leaders today, having kind of this self-reliant mindset is really just like having, like I like to call having the cards in your hands. What are the skills? What are the experiences? What are the knowledge? And what are the relationships you need to have? So you can be more valuable to your company and to your team because you're coming with something to start with that you're not expecting other people to do it for you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Coming in with a plan, coming in with some execution right off the bat is a great idea. And of course, you yourself have gone through quite a few transitions professionally in your career.
Yep.
From working corporate at Google, a couple other places, to starting your own business as well. So can you talk a bit about that transition from going corporate and being high level there and starting your own thing?
Yeah. So I had 2 full-time jobs. I've been working for 30 years. I've been an entrepreneur for 20. I had 2 jobs. I worked at General Mills as an executive, an employee there, and at Google. Netflix was a client of mine for 5 years as part of my consulting firm. But I think so many people right now, and especially in the working world today, careers are not linear. People don't just do one thing or go into one company and stay there for 30 or 40 years of their career. They like to move. They like to get lateral changes. They like to really maybe check out different environments or industries. And I feel like if you're thinking about transitioning from the corporate world to leadership, you need to go in with the new skills and the new playbook for how to operate in today's world. How do you network through social media? How do you network through virtual environments like Zoom, or if you're on calls with people through screens? So teaching people how to build those relationships is going to be key, especially for leaders and CEOs or people who are in the corporate world that want to transition into entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's sometimes the hardest part, kind of going from being in this corporate environment where everything is kind of set up for you, your coworkers are set up for you, your fellow employees, your leadership. And when you kind of go out on your own, right, you have to do that networking yourself now, find people, hire people, and also, especially, learn about people so that you can gain new clients.
Yeah, I feel like it's the hardest thing to do, especially for introverts. Networking is daunting, like walking into a room full of people that you don't really know them. And even understanding, like, everybody who's listening to this podcast knows, like, you get hit with a lot of messages on LinkedIn. What's the best way to respond to them? How do you build your LinkedIn network so that you're adding value to the conversation and not being one of those people that's DMing people, just asking for favors or trying to set up a coffee? What's the meaningful way to bring value to somebody that you want to connect with?
Right. And that's, I think, what a lot of folks are missing is that asking for something is great, but if you can offer something in return or you can offer some value, that would also be very helpful to the cause, I'm sure.
Yes. And I think one of the rules of the book talks about being a value creator. So when you meet somebody, this is the number one thing I love to do is I ask a very simple question. How can I help? Try to find out how you can add value to other people by asking them open-ended questions and then listen. What are their pain points? What are some of the dreams and ambitions they have for their business? What are some of the things they're struggling with? And then once you listen and you're attentively trying to find out what it is they care about, either positive things that they want or problems they're trying to solve, try to figure out how you can add value to them in that thing. So try to listen intently, try to figure out what it is that they care about, and then find out which string you can pull and then add value in that area.
Mm-hmm. Did you find that you had to really exercise that mindset more after starting your own business or aiming to start your own business?
Yeah, I think one of the things, just looking back at my career, that I didn't do early on is I didn't, as an entrepreneur, invest in my personal brand. Like, I didn't feel like I was the person that should be proactively promoting the company as the leader of the company. I thought the services would be enough. I thought our clientele roster would be enough. I didn't know that, I need to be out front as the personal brand, driving the reputation of the business, selling the ideas of the company, selling the ideas of our culture, of our team, of what we do. And I really feel like a lot of entrepreneurs don't want to be in the front, like they don't like to be the personal brand promoting their company and business. But it's such an important aspect of business today because people follow people. They don't follow companies. And we get inspired when we hear how CEOs or leaders are building a company. What problems are they facing? We have a lot of empathy for the journey of what they're going through. And it might inspire us. It might cause us to pick a brand over another because we know the struggle that that company went through to be come into fruition. And I really feel that any CEO or leader who's listening to this podcast today needs to be intentional about their personal brand. Mm-hmm. They need to take out the word personal brand from their idea and replace it with the term reputation. Mm-hmm. And don't you want to care about your reputation?
Yes.
So it's not about being a social media influencer. It's about what can I do to put my company or me on the best foot forward to build my reputation? Mm-hmm. My name is all I have. So how can I really invest in that?
And was that difficult to kind of add to your plate? Obviously, like you've been doing that, you're doing this interview right now, like for example, but was it difficult to add that kind of extra layer to your already very, very demanding job?
Yeah. I mean, I have clients to tend to, I have a team to tend to, I have to go out and get new business development. I have a travel schedule. So I feel like I was like, I'm not that girl. I don't have time for that. I'm not going to be one of these talking heads on Instagram. That's not me. But then when I realized it's a platform to create business leads. It's a platform to create business development. It's a platform to build the reputation of my company. It's a platform to demonstrate what services we offer and what results we have. Then I was all in because then I realized that the storytelling had a purpose and the purpose had a mission, and the mission was something that's not just a need to have for today's society. It's a must have.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and you look across social media, not even to bigger companies and larger corporations, but you look at smaller startups, like a lot of product startups, their founder who created the product is kind of the face of the brand, driving the social, creating content. It's really, really interesting to be in this age right now, I guess, where you can interact directly with who you're buying from.
With your customers. Yeah, but you don't need to be the face of it. There's a lot of faceless marketing. So it's basically your ideas, your thoughts. Like Daniel Ek is a great example, chairman and founder of Spotify. I never see him doing videos, but I love reading his tweets or his thoughts on X because he talks about, oh, when we decided to do the discovery feature on Spotify, what was the thinking behind it? That was fascinating. He shares leadership tips. He talks about interesting things. He's comfortable writing, even though he's in the audio business. You'd think he'd do a podcast, but like everyone needs to find what makes them comfortable. Everyone needs to find the speed that makes them authentic. And the most important thing when developing your personal brand or putting yourself out there is to just do something you can do consistently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to backpedal a little bit from starting your personal brand, just beginning your business, I think is a step a lot of people would like to take, either transitioning from corporate or just starting their business outright. I think a lot of people would really like to try to do something like that. And now, a few weeks ago, the federal government cut interest rates.
Yes.
So it could be an even easier time for many business owners to get started. So how would you kind of lay the groundwork for a successful business, maybe from your own experience?
I mean, I think about the Fed cutting the interest rates. The purpose of that was a couple of things. One, they want to stimulate the economy, right? They want to start to give people incentive to either create more jobs or to, help small businesses. And small businesses and entrepreneurs are the backbone of any thriving economy in the world. So I feel like that was a great first step. Hopefully now mortgage rates will also drop and that'll stimulate kind of the housing market as well. But I think about if you're a small business, you have never had a better time where you can start a company because you can do it as a side hustle, do something on your nights and weekends that you're passionate about. You can work from home. You have access to internet, a connection to do those things. You don't physically need to be in an office. And I find that if you have an idea or a concept or something you're a little bit passionate about, pull that string and see where you can take it. Scratch that itch. Find out what is the niche that you might be able to serve. What's the problem you're going to solve? And I would seek feedback. Talk to a lot of people, share your idea, see what they might be able to build on it or give you better feedback or direction on how to hone that idea.
Yeah, and I like that approach because I feel like a lot of new business owners feel like it has to be their 100% full-time situation to start from when there can be a trial period. Like, did you have some sort of experimental period where you started trying your business, seeing what could work, and then kind of going full throttle with it once you realized that it would work, or no?
No, I jumped and I said I'd figure it out while flying the plane. I mean, especially when you're an entrepreneur, like you don't know what you don't know, right? So I just knew I wanted to control what I worked on every day. I felt like I had the expertise that I could share with other people. I could scale my ideas to help other businesses instead of working for the one company I was working for at the time. And so I didn't know. I was quite naive, but I'm like, you know what? I figured it out. 20 years later, company's still going, never missed payroll in 20 years. Everything's fine. Nobody got hurt. But I feel like you just need to fill the gaps. Like, who do I need help from? I don't know about HR and accounting, and I don't know legal. Okay, I got to get a good lawyer. I got to figure out who's the right person to manage my books. I have to find out how to handle people operations. What labor law stuff do I need to understand? So just filling those gaps and then trusting myself to know that I know the business well. I know communications well. I know strategy well. I know how to build that infrastructure of how to give good counsel to clients. And so I knew that if I relied on that I could build from there and fill the gaps in the other operational areas that they're still today not my strong suit.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this relates back to a lot of the rules that you talk about in your 7 Rules of Self-Reliance. One of my favorites is rule number 3, don't be a waiter.
Yes.
Can you talk about what that means in this context about just kind of getting going with what your ideas are?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of the whole concept of self-reliance is not waiting for permission from others, not worrying about people judging you so you don't take action, not expecting people. Like I discovered, somebody had this conversation with me 20 some years ago, that I was a waiter. I was expecting opportunities to just come to me because I was a good worker and a good employee and a good person. That's not how life works. That's not how the world works. Instead of waiting for opportunities, what can you do to create them? And everyone's like, oh, I can't create them. I don't know these people. I've never done that before. No, test yourself. What can you actually create? It's more than you think, right? And so that's sort of the journey that I went through. Was somebody told me I was a waiter. I was waiting for Mr. Right. I was waiting for that boss to give me that project that was going to make me a rock star. I was waiting for opportunities to come to me, and I expected them to because I was doing all the right things. And what happened is I went home and I kind of had a good look in the mirror and talked to myself about oh, if I want this, what do I need to do to create it? I'm missing these knowledge. I'm missing these skills. I'm missing these relationships. And then I went to work and like trying to basically reverse engineer all the things I needed to fix or to learn or to understand in order for me to create those opportunities for myself. And you being in the driver's seat is the key here. Like, I feel like a lot of times we do wait for people to see us and we wait for people to recognize our work when we have more say in it than we think. And I'm a living testament to that. Like, I have no business background in running a business. I have no background and I have a family office that I inherited. I really had to build everything myself. I had to build my name. I had to build my career. I had to build my clientele. I had to build, and I feel like anyone listening to this can build it too, because I had all the cards stacked against me. So I want to inspire people to like practice these rules. They do work. You will be able to achieve things you want to achieve. It might take you some time, which it took me. I'm doing this for 30 years. I'm not an overnight success. I had struggled. I had gotten fired from companies and from jobs, and I'm still a thriving entrepreneur, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Mm-hmm. That is a great mindset to have. And Maha, thank you so much. I think you gave a lot of value for our listeners today. Really appreciate you coming on, and definitely looking forward to your book coming out on October 8th.
7 Rules of Self-Reliance. There she is.
There she is.
Get your copy on Amazon.
Thank you very much, Maha. Appreciate you coming out today.
Thank you, Jon. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a ton more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get signed up at thehustle.co/email, and we'll see you tomorrow, everybody.